Hello, this is Barriers to Web 2.0. My name is Dustin Christensen. The first couple of slides we're going to talk about are the articles. I think the first article, Barriers to Using Web 2.0, time is very important for teachers to have to implement technology, and administrative support is very important. And thirdly, what I think is most important is professional development, having effective PDs to implement new vision and missions for the school district. I'm tired of having PDs that are not effective and not relevant. The second article that I read, I found it very interesting that a lot of visions and missions don't have technology incorporated into it. I think that's something as a future admin I would like to look at. Second, looking at teacher roles. I know flipped classroom, mass customized learning, or personalized learning are new concepts in education. I don't think they are the best uh, for rural schools. I think they work very well in bigger school systems such as urban and city. I'm a firm believer that classroom teacher needs to be at the front, leading, coaching, guiding students, and keeping them accountable um, to help them dive deeper and to really engage in their learning. If not, what are we then? Thirdly, funding and implementation. It's expensive. That's why I think open educational resources are a huge thing to research and look into. That's as a future admin, I would like to bring that to the school district I hopefully work for, because it's free and it helps schools save. The third article talked about open educational resources. It's content for teachers and students. It's free, such as CK12, Khan Academy, Open Ed. It's awesome. You can edit it, you can reuse it, you can retain it, and then redistribute it. It's awesome. Third, broadband. I'm not surprised that uh, most of the nation is not hooked up. My in-laws, when I first met them in 2011, they had dial-up. With that said, one-to-one is very nice for schools to say they are, but are they really being effective? Have they done their research? Do their students who go home, do they have internet? If not, then it's not effective. Secondly, funding income. A lot of rural schools have a lot of socioeconomic, low socioeconomic um, community members. So do you think they have internet? Yes, they might have a cell phone, but are you going to have your student do their homework on their cell phone? Doesn't really make sense. Do I think the digital divide will be um, resolved? Yes, but as a educational system, we have to include technology. We have to really look at improving connectivity within the educational system, which means we have to go to the state, to the federal government, and say, we need to get connected. What can we do to do that? With that said, if we can do that, we can develop content using open educational resources. And then, if we can do that, that will increase the digital literate for students. But we have to create content standards using technology. I know we have CTE standards, but where's that digital literacy standard? We have reading standards. Yes, we can read on the computer, but what can we do with technology? What can students do with technology? Yes, turn on, type it, that's great, but what can they do to create? What can they do using technology? Right? And education, if we can inform our stakeholders that we have to get that access, then we can really improve that literacy. And with that, knowledge can be gained. I think graduation, the 21st century skills that are needed for graduation, the number one thing is being able to communicate. Are we teaching students appropriate skills on how to communicate using technology? Um, a lot of students have cell phones, and that's a big barrier, I think, for some classroom teachers. It's not for me because I have them put them in their um, in a little basket, just because we are a one-to-one laptop school. They don't need their cell phones. It's teaching them appropriate communication skills. Um, you don't need your cell phone all the time. And then thirdly, how are they able to work together and work in a teamwork atmosphere? Are they able to do that? What is their leadership styles? Thirdly, being able to critical think for themselves. For example, I have a colleague who said he works in he's an educator, but he also has a side job that is a manufacturing job. And he said, when a machine breaks down, the supervisor says, here's a book, figure it out. How are you helping kids be able to dive deeper and be able to think for themselves? And thirdly, being able to use technology appropriately. What can they do with technology? What are the standards? Are there any standards for incorporating technology? We have reading standards, we have ELA standards, CTE, which I know that dives into that, but do we truly have a certain criteria, a digital standard that kids are able to master and say, okay, I can do this with technology? I have used internet most of my life. My parents had it. I use it now. I'm taking a master's class. I don't have cable or Dish Network. I use all my TV is through um, Wi-Fi through um, broadband or fiber optics, which is great. It's faster, it's cheaper. So that's what's something we have to think about. What is the infrastructure for most communities? How can people access it? Are key. I use technology a lot in my classroom, but I think I can further my uh, expertise becoming a Google certified instructor and then pursuing other technology opportunities through professional development. EHS is equipped. Teachers have smart boards, laptops. They are using LMS systems called Canvas. Students have they have laptops and they use the Canvas system. I think teachers have it, but I think sometimes they don't use it very effectively. They use it more for a worksheet based use when they could really dive deeper using it. I think some best practices are standard-based grading, having time to work with your colleagues, being able to interactive lecture, using formative assessments. Some things are Quizlet and Kahoot. Using LMS systems and data collection are huge. As a future administrator, I think I'm going to focus on standard-based learning, having PLC time for my staff, and really focusing on data collection. Being able to do this will help kids gain those 21st century skills. Students will, when we can do that as teachers, students will be able to go beyond the concept and be able to apply themselves. And that's what we have to ask ourselves. Are we really helping students be successful in their next job after graduation? Some disadvantages: there's not very many schools that give time for teachers to implement new technology. It's frustrating. And then I've noticed that sometimes communities have to buy in. Is the community buy in or are they not? In order for technology and for new ideas, you have to get your stakeholders bought into it. EHS has had problems with cyberbullying this past year. Just an example, some middle school students used a Google document to uh, do some bullying, and they got in trouble for it. But as a future administrator, I think we have to have a class that every kid has to take called digital citizenship. This is what happens if you use technology in this way. This is what could happen. Here's some court cases. Do you really want to become that kind of student, that kind of citizen? And then have it in your school handbook and have policies regarding cyberbullying and internet use. Thank you for listening.